Okay. We're doing a little test here. And let me see. We've got some people watching. Can anyone hear us?
That's not a good sign.
There's 4 people watching. Here, hold this really quick. I'm going to move this thing. There's 8 people watching. Hold my phone. Okay. Whoa, whoa. Getting crazy there. Uh-oh, light. We lost our light. I don't know if people can hear us or not. And I'm waiting for my other participants. I know. I look like I have cat hair. Oh, Adam says yes. Clay and I are here. Yep. Okay, they can hear us. Okay, so
we don't have light anymore.
We lost our light, but that's okay. I don't know why I can't hear you guys and where my other people are. So, Angela, do a quick little intro real quick while I try to get
I don't know what this is about. I'm just here. You told me to show up.
All right. Here we go. Group, post. So tonight we're kind of doing a little contest to listen. We have some people in that are going to be telling us some stories. Oh, I have people in the waiting room. Yay. Amber, add to stream. Ash, add to stream. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi there. So we actually have one more person that's supposed to be joining us. In true Rosa. Oh, there's him. Let him in. Okay.
Hello.
We are here. Hi, Jimmy.
How's it going?
Good. Can you guys see or hear each other? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yay. Okay, so we were just doing a quick little intro here. For those of you that don't know us, I'm Rosa. This is my sister, Angela.
Hello.
And
Hi.
we are the hosts of the Ripple podcast. And tonight, we are not telling a story. You guys are going to tell us a story. And we have Amber, Ash, and Jimmy. And if you guys want to do a quick little intro of yourselves, just to kind of let everyone know who you are, let's start with Amber.
So I am a veteran of the music industry. I've been in music business for about 28 years. I'm also an author. I released a book this past year in October, and it's just a few weeks ago it went number 2. So I'm really
Congratulations!
Yeah, I mean, wow.
Do a little plug for your book. What's it called?
So the current book, I have several books. The first one that I'll plug is called Hiding from Myself, and that was released in 37 countries back in late October, and went to number 2 in the beginning of January.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My second book is going to be about how to get over stage fright, which comes out this June.
I've worked with
Yeah, I mean, I worked with American Idol for a couple of years. I taught people how to get over stage fright, and I've been doing that my whole life, believe it or not, as well. So I have a lot of tricks that I teach people. And I have this method that allows you to get over stage fright in 24 hours or less, guaranteed.
I need that.
sounds like a good thing.
You could be the most nervous person on the planet, and I promise you, in 24 hours, if you listen to what I say, you'll be over it fast.
So this is coming out then?
That'll be coming out in late June, says the publisher. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also working on a supernatural thriller. I can't name I'm not allowed to name the director that actually asked the two of us ladies to write the screenplay because I'll get John Carpenter in trouble. But yeah, I was really excited to hear that. They wanted us to stay in the house where The Conjuring happened.
What?
Yeah, so we're going to be staying there in September.
Do you need any people to bring you water?
Well, one of the other girl I'm going with she's one of the masters of horror. She writes a lot of movies, and she's like, I don't know, I write these movies, but I'm scared shit. I don't know if I can say shit.
You're fine.
But I'm just scared shitless to do this because what we were gonna do, and as you guys know, what's his name? Ronald DeFeo Jr. from the Amityville house just died this past week.
Yeah.
And we were going to stay there. We were actually trying to coerce the people that own the house right now to have us stay there for 20 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, I said, oh, honey, I'll sleep right in that red room. I don't give a shit. I'll just.
You are so brave. I
Right.
don't know if I could do that.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, so we don't know if it's going to happen or not. But right now, it's on the, what do you call it? The docket, I guess you call it. But,
Well, keep us posted. That's
yeah.
super cool.
Thanks. Other than that, I grew up in a haunted house, so this will be a fun story.
I can't wait.
That sounds incredible. And
You-
definitely keep us posted on everything you have to come. That sounds so cool. I'm so excited for all of that.
Oh, thank you.
All right, I'm going to go. I don't know if you guys have the same setup as we do on our screen, but I'm just going to go around the clock. And next is Ash.
Oh,
Do you want
hello.
to do a quick little intro?
Sure. I am clearly not as tech savvy as you guys. I'm on my phone and I have my little earbuds.
No. You want to hear something? I got here an hour early to get set up. Got the ring light, the mics, the headphones.
None of it works.
Forgot the charger to my laptop.
Oh gosh.
So we're on my phone too. You're totally fine. We're making everything work.
So I hope, I don't know if my Wi-Fi is super great, but I hope I come in pretty clear. But
You're good.
You're good,
So-
yeah.
I am Rosa's niece, and I've been listening for a year now. Well, as long as you guys have been going, basically. I live in Idaho. I do hair. I'm not super into but job-wise, I don't have anything to do with horror or anything, but I love horror and true crime and paranormal, so it's super interesting. And joining me is my little dog. I don't know if you can see her, but we're hanging out.
Hey.
We love the pups.
Yay.
Yeah, so that's me. Oh, and I also am drinking 44 North, which is a vodka from Idaho.
Nice.
Which is
Oh.
we're known for potatoes, so I figured vodka.
I've got our local Topa Wednesday IPA here. So. All right. And then last but not least is Jimmy.
Yeah, I am from California. Graduated film school right when the pandemic hit full bore.
Okay.
So I started a production podcasting company 6 years ago. We're the Horrific Network.
I love it. Fun play on words.
Yeah, through that, I got a job doing production for a couple cons, most notably Sinister Creature up here in Northern California. So we're about to hit our 600th podcast.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Thank you. We've had everybody name a horror movie, and not to be braggadocious or anything, but we've probably had them on the show. Everything from the cast of Dream Warriors to Kane Hodder.
Wow.
all your big dogs.
I love it.
So right now, with stuff calming down, we just started my second personal directing feature, and it's 3 short stories with coronavirus in mind, so smaller crew, smaller cast. And it's about a group of friends telling scary stories around a campfire. And one is like and first three months or so pandemic. One is Christmas during the pandemic, and one is centered around Halloween coming out of the pandemic.
Oh, that sounds
Nice.
really good. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it does. I'm excited for that too. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I don't think we should be hosting this. Well, we are super grateful you guys are all here. And what we're doing tonight, like I said, you guys are going to be telling us a hometown story because Angela and I are usually the ones telling the stories, and we're just going to sit back and listen. And at the end of this, we have a little gift we're going to send to each and every one of you. So thank you again for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right on.
It's so awesome. I'm so glad we have participants.
Yay!
Makes me so happy.
Is there a volunteer that would like to go first?
I'll do it.
Gotta be.
There it is.
Here we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
So part of the podcasting thing that I definitely wanted to get into, because my house that my wife and I live in right now is very haunted. And so one of the things that has always fascinated me is the other side, what happens, like all those questions I think we all ask. And through that, I got linked up with a group of paranormal researchers. And this isn't directly in my hometown. This is about 45 minutes away. And it's in a town called Antioch. And it is a famous spot called the Gates of Hell. And they threw this opportunity for us to tag along with them. And I was like, yes, like whatever you want. Like, we will carry your stuff on this trail. Like, I don't care. Like, just allow us to audio record and kind of document what's happening along this ride. And we're there. So the story of this is that it's kind of like just a hiking trail, golf like country club on your left side as you enter this trail, which has now been blocked off, like huge concrete barriers and stuff. The other side was like at one time like prairie land, so like cattle and stuff. And the folklore that surrounds this place is that like the dude who owned the cattle yard just lost his mind on this ground, kind of like Amityville Horror style. Like, there's no like dude was an alcoholic or he was driven to kill people or whatever. But the story is that he like just really did a number on his then wife. She ran and was found on the highway, bloody. And by the time the authorities got there, he was hanging from the tallest silo. And so we went, and this spot immediately creeped me out because the country club side is all green. The cattle yard side, dead. And we're talking about a difference of 20 feet maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never experienced, again, not even in the house that we live in, which we've seen full body apparition.
Whoa.
I've never experienced like, everything like on Ghost Hunters, Zach Baggins, stuff like that. The people always say like, oh man, the air is so thick. I've never had that. But you're outside on a hiking trail and we got over the first kind of crest of this trail and the air was thick. Like it got like, you would think we were in Florida, like humidity level off the chain.
Right? Sure.
And it was, about a mile and a half till you get to this, what was the slaughterhouse, feed yard, whatever. And it looks like something out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And, we go onto the property to investigate. And almost immediately, we went to a barn, dilapidated, roof caved in, and you couldn't get to the back of this barn, but you could see silhouettes, like people were walking back there. So that was spooky instance number one. The thing, their EKG monitors and stuff are naming people in the group by name, like
Whoa.
the whole nine. And then the way that it worked is your silo building is ground level, and then you had to like hike up a hill that's probably 50 or so feet above the silo. And that's where like the cattle corrals were, that you could kind of see how they were operating. Pitch black and deadly still, and you could hear cattle bells.
Oh, weird.
No.
And the coup de grace of all of it was that you go up about another 50 feet and you'd round this corner, and it was what we have when we tell the story, just to make it creepier, but we always assumed like this was like either a giant like indoor barn if it's raining to bring the cattle in, or the way that you could kind of see like where the cement was compared to everything else. It almost, if it was steer and not dairy, it would be like the processing barn. Like this is where they were killing the steers at. And this voice on the EKG comes through, and it's like beckoning us into this barn. And half of the group is like, no way. And one of the main people of the group and I kind of make eye contact, and I'm like, I didn't drive all the way out here to like give it to me. Like let's do it. And so he and I hopped the fence to get into this barn, and the story splits from there. The rest of the group on their EKG says that they heard a voice the second that we entered the barn that said, "We got him."
Oh no.
Our EKG that he and I had is another voice that's just saying like, come in farther.
Whoa. No.
And,
run away faster.
and so if you imagine like every 25 yards or so, the temperature on his other meter is rising and falling every time we pass a section of this barn. This barn is probably 50 yards long. It's like a huge building that we're in. And we get about halfway in, and his EKG starts freaking out. Like this other voice starts coming across with the male voice. This is a female voice. And she static, like stop. We think it's telling us to stop, but the guy's voice is still outweighing the girl's voice. So we're going in, and I see a door. This door looks like, have you guys seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you know Leatherface's steel door that he slides open?
Sure.
Looks like that. And the voice is like, open the door. And so we are noticing like the door is still in its frame, that you could slide it, but you could easily just like walk around the dilapidated wall and like just like peek around it if you wanted to. So like that's weird. Like why would you want us to open the door when there's like just come around? Like, but we get up to about probably 15 feet from the door, and then all of a sudden all the static, everything stops, and the girl's voice is like, "Jimmy, stop." And I'm like, why?
That's you.
I'm like, what's behind that door? Demon.
Ugh.
And we run as fast as we can out of that barn, hop back over the fence, and the group is just like screaming at us, mad. And we're like, what's wrong? Like, what? Like, we got some shit to tell you. Like, what are you upset about? And they go, the second that you went inside, we have been screaming to the point of being hoarse for you to leave. And we could not hear them. The trippier thing is that in the pictures that they were taking, as we enter the barn, there's this red haze on the right-hand side of the picture. And you can see us standing in the barn, as we go farther, the haze moves across the frame, and when it gets to the left-hand side, we're not in the picture anymore.
Oh no.
That is
That's all
terrifying.
kinds of bad
Wow.
And so since that building, like that, all of that, just because of groups like us, I'm sure, they bulldozed it. And
Oh.
and last year, because one of the things what we do on my channel is we like go up and down the coast of California and visit haunted houses and interview the owners, and like we'll podcast from inside. And last year, obviously, there wasn't much of a Halloween to be had. So one of the things that we did, we like tried to find like folklore and ghost stories and haunted places. And unbeknownst to us that it was bulldozed, I'm like, we got to go back to that road for the haunt season episode. So we go back, which I'm sure there's some people probably asking why, but that's and so I went back and we went to the spot that it was where that took place. And sure as shit, man, we went into the foundation of that barn. And again, that same voice came through. Leave, there's demon. Leave,
Ooh.
demon. Leave, demon.
Wow.
So there's something out there. It was creepy.
Sure sounds like it.
That sounds super haunted. Somebody definitely has a demon going home with them. I'm thinking probably whoever bulldozed that building probably has a poltergeist now.
Yeah.
Follow them home.
I'm glad to know that the demon also still hangs out in his hometown there too.
It's not
So,
following
like,
you home.
Yeah, that's a good sign. Probably.
Yeah, that was like one of the things is like the group that we were with, they like taught us like how to, I guess, close oneself off, like sage yourself, for lack of a better term, of
Sure.
like nothing, like, you know, I'm not permitting anything to follow me home past a certain point. So yeah, no scary demons in my house. My ghost is a friendly ghost.
Is wild. I hope you have like a lifetime. Do you have like maybe a sage orchard or
Right.
something planted around your home after
Yeah,
this stuff?
my backyard is just sage. That's all it is. It's just
Totally. Yeah. Sage farmer.
There is no Dana, there is only Zool.
I love it.
Oh
All
my
right, well,
God.
thank you, Jimmy. That was fantastic.
That's really good.
oh yeah, sure.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to follow that?
No one.
You
Amber,
can go
would you
if
like to go?
I don't care. It's up to you guys. I don't care.
I can go if you guys want.
yeah, go
Backwards.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, like I said earlier, I am from Idaho, which there are some conspiracy theories that Idaho doesn't even exist. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but
Oh, well, that's fun.
yeah. So if you actually try and look up haunted like places around Idaho, there really aren't, like, I feel like a whole lot of like documentation about different like haunted places. Like we have a lot of ghost towns and that kind of thing, but it's basically like, oh, one time we saw a ghost and that's about it. So I have 2 locations that I pulled just so I wouldn't have like 2 seconds of talking. So I am from Caldwell, which is a smaller town in Idaho. It's about a 45-minute drive to Boise, which is the capital. And I have Canyon Hill Cemetery, which is in fact where my husband's grandpa is buried. So we've gone there a couple times, only in the daytime, so I can't like really attest to any of these stories. But so Canyon Hill, kind of like, I'm hitting my glass, kind of how the name describes, you can see it's up on a hill and it overlooks the valley, like the whole Treasure Valley. You can see all the mountain ranges. There's like the Boise River down under like at the base of the hill, and it's a really pretty cemetery. And they started doing burials like in the early 1800s, even though Idaho was like didn't become a state till 1890. So they were doing this like cemetery is older than the state itself. So like I said, with those beautiful views, they have like benches at the edge of the hill, and you can kind of sit there and be like near your loved one's graves.
Sure.
And one of the ghosts hangs out at the bench, and it's actually really close to where my husband's grandpa is buried. So he's actually seen this ghost as well. So it said that there's an older lady that likes to sit on the bench and kind of like look out over the valley, and if you try to approach her, she leaves. So my husband was walking out to like go like relax near his grandpa, I guess, and kind of like meditate and think, and he saw an older lady and didn't want to disturb her, so he was kind of walking slower, and he like walked closer and like past a tree, and when he got closer, she was gone. So he's like, oh, did I miss her or something? Like, old ladies don't really move very fast. So like, yeah, so he believes that he saw her. And then the most famous ghost that's for that cemetery is they call her the Midnight Jogger. So it said if you park your car in between the two trees facing the cemetery, like usually really late at night, I don't think it has to be midnight, but a lady will come and like tap on your window. And if you like roll down your window to talk to her, she won't be there anymore. And if you see her from a distance, she never has legs for whatever reason. So I don't know why she got the name Jogger if she doesn't have legs.
That's not a real fast jog, yeah.
Yeah. But there is a video that kind of looks like they got a ghost like kind of running, but you can see legs clearly on the like
Video?
picture. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so I don't know if it was like an actual real video or what it is, but so there's also like cold spots, and there's said to be an odd smell in some places, which I never, like, we walked our dogs around the cemetery and I never smelled anything weird other than like grass and trees and stuff. And she starts to talk while I am talking too. There's also a sad story about there was a mom that was driving, and she had like 5 kids with her, and she drove off a cliff. They don't know if it was intentional or not, but she's buried there with all of her children. So
Oh,
that's a really sad story.
yeah.
But moving on, do I have time or should I
Yeah,
move
yeah,
on?
you're good.
So going on to Nampa, which is where I spend a lot of my time. It's about a 15-minute drive from where I live, but that is where I work, and that's actually where my sister lives. So I go there a lot. So in Nampa, there used to be a hospital called Old Mercy. There was, I'll get to that later, but basically it was built in 1918, and it was a lot of different things. So it started as a hospital, became an asylum, then became an old folks home, and then became a hospital again. And so it shut down in 1999 due to like chemical leaks. So it was not doing great.
Yeah.
And when they shut down, they moved it to a different location, which is actually where my sister spent like 3 months of her childhood with really bad appendicitis. So she does not have fond memories there. But this Old Mercy Hospital was a place for like teenagers to go and like investigate, quote unquote. And me and my friends almost were one of them, but we chickened out. And so we like drove up to it and we saw how like creepy it looked, and we're like, yeah, no, let's not do this. But for a long time, teens would break in and investigate and vandalize. So they cops would have to like try and shut it down, but you know, like teenagers, they don't really listen. But it said there's a room that's like painted pink from when it was an asylum, and one of the, like, I don't know why they didn't clean it up, but there's like blood supposedly smeared on the walls, and that's supposed to be like a really haunted room. Like a lot of people claim to see like ghosts in there, and one like really, like, they call it a psychopath. I don't know if that's offensive, probably, but like a really scary ghost from the asylum days would go in there and like scream at you. There was also a chapel, and that had scratches and blood stains as well, and also like old remnants from satanic rituals. So like people would go in there and use that area, which is kind of ironic since it was a chapel. And then neighbors. So this hospital was in like a neighborhood, so there was a bunch of old houses around it, and people that lived in those houses, I know, you're okay, would say that.
It's a scary story.
So Tom's like, pay attention to me. What are you doing? So sorry, I lost my train of thought. So
You're fine.
the neighbors would claim to see like ghosts running through the yards, and or they would think it was like a person. They go out there and they would disappear. So, there was also a morgue in a morgue in the basement, and people said like if you would go down there, you would never go like set foot in the building ever again because it was supposedly haunted with demons or all that fun and scary stuff. So I'm not brave enough to ever do something like that. But in 2016, it caught fire and was completely torn down, and they built apartments over that. So everyone thinks like I would never live in those apartments.
Wow.
Those are my two places.
Wow.
That's nutty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
Well, I know Rosa is taking a trip to Idaho sometime in the near future, hopefully.
Yeah,
And I
hopefully.
think you need to do a little podcast field trip
Oh,
and report back to me.
I'll bring some of my listeners with me.
That would be awesome. Wow, that sounds wild. I don't think I would ever want to go to those apartments.
Or live in them.
I wonder if that's something. No, probably not. You wouldn't have to disclose any of that information. Hopefully, those
'Cause they
people
tore it
did
down.
their research.
In Idaho, if it is haunted, they have to say like if there's claims that it's haunted, the realtors and places like that have to tell you it's haunted.
No
but
way.
Wow.
that's like
That
it's
does
like a
not
law.
happen in California.
Yeah.
Come on, you can do it.
Awesome. Thank you so
That was
much.
awesome.
Mhm.
Good.
All right, Miss Amber, you're up.
Okay, I'm up. So I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. This is an interesting story. In fact, I'm writing a book about this, and it's loosely based on that. Yeah, I have 3 books going on at the same time.
Wow.
Um,
I can't even watch 3 TV
I
shows
think you
I
need
know.
to show
Huh?
us how to be that productive.
and focused because we're not.
No.
It's ADD. That's all. So, all right. So let's see where we can begin. In the 1920s, the house that I was brought up in, we purchased the house in 1960, but it was built in the 1920s alongside of a daughter house that was right next to it. And let's just say, to start this story off, that the person that lived in the daughter house, let's just say that person murdered their wife in that house.
Okay.
Okay. So all through my childhood, that property smelled funny, and whoever lived there had issues. It was almost smelled like rotting garbage coming out of the house. It was really a foul smell like I've never experienced. But in my house, we had something else happen. We had the mother of the owner, who was a veterinarian. She died downstairs in what we would call the 4th bedroom. She died downstairs in the late 1950s. And we feel she was the person that was in our house our whole life. And here's how it goes. I'm about 4 or 5 years old, and I hear clinging and clanging upstairs. Now, it's a 3-story colonial house. Sort of looks Amityville-ish, right? If you look at the house, has that weird looking top where the attic is.
Mm-hmm.
And my bedroom happened to be where the full-size attic door was to go up into the bedroom. So you had the foot of my bed, if you can imagine. And on the other side of the room, facing my bed, there was a stairway that would go up into this full-sized attic.
Nope.
Okay? So, yeah, I know. And I'm this little kid, and they had to choose that room for me. I mean, it was an FML moment, right? So, yeah. So I'm laying in bed one night, and my mom and dad had told me, yeah, you weren't even in school yet, because you were so young and so fragile because of what happened. And I said, one night before my dad came to bed with my mom, I kept hearing noises upstairs, like someone walking. I would hear this footsteps going on, and I'd hear clinging and clanging. And then I heard the attic door open. It was so bizarre. You can't see the attic door from my bed. So I sort of like peeked over, and I could see the attic door was actually fully open. And I was scared. So next to my bed, there was a little umbrella or something, and I picked it up because the lights in these 1920 houses were really up high. So I hit the light switch with the umbrella to turn the light on, and I hop back in bed and put the covers over. My dad walks in and says, why are your lights on, honey? I said, the attic door just opened all by itself. And he walks over, and sure enough, he goes, it is open. Let me close it again. He closes it. Says it's not going to open because it's nice and tight now. He goes, everything else okay? I said, there was somebody walking upstairs. He goes, oh, there's nobody walking upstairs. Let me show you what it is. I said, He says, yeah, come with me. So he opens the attic door. We both walk up. I'm scared. I'm hugging his leg. And he points out these cast iron radiators that are up there. And he says, whenever they get too hot, they clank and they make noises. And he said, that's what you're hearing. I said, oh, okay. He says, don't worry. Now go back to bed. He tucks me in. My mom comes in. She gives me a kiss. And incidentally, before we go to sleep, he says, here, feel the attic door. And it's definitely like shut. You can't, an old 1950s like colonial house, you can't just open the windows. You can't just open the doors because when they shut, they sort of really shut.
Sure.
20 minutes later, the attic door opens and I hear footsteps along my bed, and then they go down the stairs, and then like 5 minutes later you hear and the attic door closes all by itself. So let's just leave that where it is, because here's where it gets interesting. Because all through my childhood I'm like, all right, you know what, the damn attic door is going to open and close. Whoever this is, it's not the radiator, right? And whoever this is not hurting me, so I'm okay. But it did freak me out as a kid so much that I took the entire, your listeners might, if they're too young, they might have to know, we used to have something called encyclopedias rather than the right? So I took an entire set of the encyclopedias and put it in front of the attic door. So that's about 80 pounds worth of books after you lay them all. And that way the door wouldn't open that night. The next morning, I woke up and the books were spread across the room and the door was wide open.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I don't like that.
Right? So I'm a little freaked out, right? So, but you know what? We had so many things happen in this house that I can't get into right now because it would take too long. But so many things that happened. Fast forward, and I'm about 14, 15 years old. I'm already writing music. I have a drum set. I have a synthesizer. I have a couple synthesizers. I have an electric guitar. I have a full studio set up in my bedroom. And I'm getting into, now I was in the 80s, right? So I was, in my sort of Pat Benatar meets Heart phase of my songwriting journey. And it was pretty raunchy. It was pretty loud. It was sort of like the song Barracuda meets, I don't know, Love is a Battlefield or something, but really heavy guitars. And as the music was playing, picture me up against the wall with the piano, and the attic is behind me, okay? And I hear, and I freak out, and the hair on the back of me and all of my goosebumps are like lighting up at the same time. I turn around, and the attic door is slammed up against the window behind me. And I'm like, that's weird. Now, I was very logical growing up because I went through this attic door nonsense my whole life. The window to my bedroom was open. So I said, oh, it must have been the wind and it sort of sucked the door open. No big deal. So I go over and I close the attic door and I make sure it can't open again. So I jiggle it and it can't open. So I go back, I turn the music back on. Within 30 seconds, I hear and then the attic door opens and shuts, opens, shuts, opens, shuts 3 times in a row.
Wow.
And I'm halfway down.
Two of them, I turned around and I could see it just opening up, slamming against the side window behind it, slamming shut, opening up, and then I saw that the third time slamming shut. Now I'm frozen solid in place. I look at the window and the curtains are moving just a little, and I'm like, all right, if that was the wind, I'm shutting that damn window because I'm freaking out now. Now, the first time in my life, I'm freaked out about the attic door, right? So I start to figure out how I'm going to move, and I sort of start walking towards that window. Now, in a 1920s house, they were controlled by ropes on the inside. So you used to have to shimmy the window open. And once you open that window, girl, you're not closing it. It's not going to close.
We know exactly. We know those windows.
Yeah, I would need my dad to help me close it usually, but I was going to try to do it myself anyway. I got about 8 feet away from the window, and the window slammed shut all by itself.
Oh,
the glass broke in at me, and the attic door flung open all by itself again. Okay, now I'm freaked out. I can't move because now I have something called amygdala hijacking, and that's where you overreact to a stimulus, right? And what it does is it makes you freeze in place. So you can have that fight or flight response where you run or you fight or you've paralyzed. Right. I was like paralyzed. So with that, I'm like, oh my God, I ran out of my bedroom. We have about 20 stairs that go to the downstairs. I missed 17 of them. And I opened up the front door of the house. I ran out and I'm looking up in the bedroom. And I'm like, I'm not going up there. I can't. And nobody was home. They were all out shopping at the grocery store. My mom and dad came home and it was starting to drizzle. But I was standing there in a drizzle and they said, honey, what are you doing outside in a drizzle? Are you crazy? I said, I'm not going back in that house. And I said, my dad says, what's the matter? I said, I think the ghost is mad, because we knew there was a ghost. And he says, all right, I'll go up with you and let's go up. He looks, he goes, the glass is broken in. So you didn't throw anything through the window. I said, Dad, why would I throw something through the window? No. And he says, okay. And the attic door is open. That's very strange. What were you playing? So I hit play on the sequencer. And he says, turn that off. He really did. He said, turn that off. He goes, listen, your mom and I need to have a talk with you. I want you to come downstairs and just leave the glass, leave everything here. And that was when they proceeded to tell me that next door, there was something that they thought was kind of evil, malevolent, trying to invade our house. Because the father of the son that murdered someone, the father built that other house. So there was a direct connection. Have you guys ever heard of the term 1111 Make-A-Wish?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the freaky part. I lived on 11 Hope Street. That other house was 9 Hope Street. But here's the weird thing. The exact square footage of the house next door was 1111. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, it was really freaky. So you can look this up on Zillow right now. If you guys all look up 11 Hope Street, in Liberty, New York, you'll see the house at 9 is actually 1,111 square feet, right? So there was this weirdness that was always happening because here's the thing I didn't tell you. When I was little, even when I was little, we used to have these little digital clocks. It was always 11:11 when the door opened in the attic.
Oh.
It was always 11:11, and for my whole life, I've been seeing 11:11 over and over and over again. And that was the one thing that I remember from my childhood is that it was 11:11 when that happened. And my dad said, "Well, listen, that woman that died here, she protects our house. She's not going to hurt you, but something just happened. You either made her very mad, or it's very possible that whatever is over there came over here and was invading your space, almost like a poltergeist sort of activity."
Yeah.
Now, my dad didn't believe in that stuff. I'm going to be honest. Ghosts and all that. He was a manly man. He didn't believe in any of that nonsense. For him, that's all it was. But, we experienced so much stuff together. He knew there was some sort of weird activity happening in our house. He says, "Don't write that music anymore." So I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Please don't write that music anymore. I don't have the money to replace this window every 3 weeks." So I stopped writing that music. And oddly enough, the song that got me into the music business was a song I wrote just 2 weeks later. And when I wrote it, the attic door opened. It goes, and I watched this damn door open all by itself. So I had stopped because I had turned the piano around so I could watch the attic, right? I watched the door open, and it opened very slowly, and I didn't feel scared this time. I mean, I had goosebumps all over me. But I walked up to the door, and to this day, if there's somebody that can explain this to me, and I think I know a lot about this stuff, but this I don't know. I smelled roses.
Oh,
Wow.
Interesting.
And the roses came almost like a waft of air and then disappeared completely. So roses completely gone. That fast. As soon as the roses smell came, it left. And what my mom and dad said is that was her way of saying thank you, and we're good. We're good. And yeah, so that's the short version of the story, because we had a lot of crazy stuff happen, but I could eat up a whole hour with that nonsense.
I love this stuff.
There you go.
The roses is better than the garbage smell next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't even go trick-or-treating in that house next door, 'cause it was it was just, they painted that house 100 times over, and there was still a stain on the wall every time they would paint.
Oh,
They
that's weird.
They replaced the drywall in that house.
Ooh.
And the stain came back on brand new drywall.
Ugh.
Wow.
Don't know that one.
Yeah.
Got me on that.
Demonic, right?
Something was
that's
really
odd.
not good there. Yeah, something was definitely not good there. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. We kind of have a theme going on with Jimmy describing kind of that thick air, and then we had the garbage smell and the roses, and it's kind of interesting because one of our local haunted places, it's the Glen Tavern, which is a haunted hotel in our area. One of the closets, when you open it, smells like lavender, and apparently that's where a woman was murdered. So yeah, we kind of have a weird little sense haunting going on.
And I didn't tell you guys, the town that I grew up in was what the movie Dirty Dancing was based on.
Oh.
That's where I come from. And my house was 12 minutes away from the original Woodstock site. So,
Oh, wow.
we grew up in the Catskill region, and that's where Dirty Dancing was based upon. The Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Oh, fun.
The whole second season is based on my town. So, yeah, there you go.
Cool. Well, thank you. That was an amazing story. I wish we could go longer.
I know.
I'm so intrigued.
This is super fun. Again, thank you guys for joining us. This is, taking the time out of your day. I know some of us are on different time zones and everything, so coordinating and everything, we really appreciate it. I'm going to shoot all of you guys a message when this is over, because like I said, Angela and I do want to send you something as a thank you just for jumping on with us. And I definitely want to keep in contact with you guys and see what life is doing for you and hear some more great stories.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
You're kind of stuck with me.
Yay! All right, everyone, have a good evening and enjoy the rest of the convention. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guys.
Don't forget
Thank
to
you.
be a fountain.
Not a drain.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.